I am Netversitan. This one is lengthy enough to dedicate to its own lore video. So that's what I'm going to do. We start this one with a report from a different branch that faced disaster, where the last survivors of it inquired about the situation of their branch. Joe, with Daisy and Suho with him, informed them that the abnormality within branch O-5681 was still contained. It was part of the magical girls set. Oh. Anime come to life! The doom of worlds! Apparently, all of them within larger branches breached at once and started attacking. According to the wavy, short, light, blonde-haired captain called Purin, no, not the fairy Pokemon. And then a short, fringed, blue-haired agent called Raza didn't see it an ordinary attack. Then Toma, captain of the control team, wanted to know what it was, if it wasn't an ordinary attack. Cat was silent during this. Raza told them to watch carefully. They were desperately calling, praying for something. The Queen of Hatred with her violet-starred wand. The King of Greed encased in amber. And the Knight of Despair with half her face darkened. Joe asked Bebe for contacts with her team. Or rather from her team. She told him that Beelzy, one of her agents, has been building a bond with her for that moment. A bond with the magical girl in green, the servant of Wrath. A short, brown-haired female agent was met with a blindfolded, short, green-haired girl wearing dark green breeches and a lighter green top. This was the servant of Wrath, armed with a small green hammer. Beelzy was wearing her EGO suit. Daisy looked unconcerned, as the tremor was the least amount of wrath that tiny abnormality can exert, even if Sasha got hit by a fragment of the ceiling on the head. Suho pointed out the behavior patterns of the girls and how they can change. The absence of the servants of Wrath rendered their purpose null. Joe told them that they attacked other branches. The ritual was incomplete. Suho was concerned. Oh, who am I kidding? She wasn't, as it was their problem. After that, they were likely contained eventually and sent to the facility. Well, we already know how they were dealt with. Thankfully, all four of them didn't come together at the same time. Bebe was relieved that Beelzy did a good job. Beelzy looked pretty out of it as it was revealed that she had gained some hair accessories. The EGO of the Servant of Wrath. Pirin thought she was awesome. Toma told her that she saved that branch and downtown along with it. Yeah, If that had happened, Toma, let us just say that Rose and Tai wouldn't have a place to drink coffee together at. Or rather, a place to get the coffee. Rosa asked what she did with her. Bearsy told them, nothing, we're just friends. Toma wanted to pay for a meal with them at a restaurant, so that she could tell them about that. Rosa was coming too to prevent it from being workplace romance. Buren was excited about that, and Toma denied that it was a date. Rosa was coming anyway. Kat was concerned. She walked away from this excitement. Toma asked her to join them for once. Buren added that they had all survived a life or death situation. Yeah, in that place, it's definitely a cause for celebration. Kat told them that she had evening exercises to take. Buren was disheartened by her ignoring them. Toma told her that she's always acted that way. Rosa was always creeped out. Oh, don't be too hard on her. I can understand how awkward she can be in social situations. I can speak from personal experience. Beelzy was cheerful, telling them not to be too mad at it. She'll softly ask Kat about it. She caught up with her, asking why she disliked people so much. Kat failed to see any reason to like anyone in the job, especially in the Lobotomy Corporation. Well, considering how low the life expectancy is, I can understand you there, Kat. As you don't know when someone's going to die. And Beelzy got that. But everyone needed someone to give her mind a breather. She offered to be one for Kat. Kat was silent about this. Beelzy mentioned Joe and Sasha. They were close friends, saying that they could be the same. Kat was unimpressed, saying that if Kat used her, she'd break and shatter like a toy, implying that she'd destroy her. Then Beelzy was called back to not let the others waiting. Or rather, to not let herself keep the others waiting. Yes, that makes much more sense. Beelzy understood, telling them to wait 30 minutes. She'd pay for desserts. She went into the containment unit of the Servant of Wrath, telling it that it did a good job holding it in. It told her that it did her a favor because they were friends. Beelzy would continue to use it in the future. She can be used in return. That's what friends are about. Yes, thankfully the Servant of Wrath can't get to the others, as it would likely result in something similar to the Apocalypse Bird situation. Except not as bad. Meanwhile, Tai and Rose were cleaning up a tangle breach, which left a mess, specifically hair all over the corridor. Rose saw this suppression as easy, but the hassle was of clearing up the aftermath, sweeping the hair away as Cass was drinking her Suck My Energy drink. Tai wanted Rose to poke Kat. Rose then asked Kat for one of those drinks as well. Tai then was specific and told her that she was supposed to ask for help. Rose was still feeling awkward. She was too scared to face her after causing the breach of the hookah caterpillar. Then she was hit by a can of Suck My Energy. Rose and Tai thanked her. Then something green surged in their direction. Toxic liquid, acidic sludge, which got rid of the hair, all thanks to Beelzy. it became miles quickly. Beelzy was revealed to be with the Servant of Wrath behind her, and she was the captain of the safety department. Apparently, when there's an abnormality breach or trouble, this abnormality can be called to assist. After that, the Servant of Wrath returned to her containment units. Similar to if there's a level 2 emergency. The Queen of Hatred can be summoned. Rather, she breaches to assist in dealing with the villains. Rose thanks her for this cleanup assistance, and it's apparently because Beelzy wanted to lighten the load for Kat. Wait, is she in love with her? Well, it's clear that homosexuality is not a problem in that society. Gender, at least largely, it's largely seen as a social construct. At least, that's what the implication. It's certainly more obvious with Benjamin, and one of the founders of Lobotomy Corporation. But of course, these employees don't know that. Kat then went to her in the training lounge. She mentioned the Servant of Wrath assisting with the suppression. Apparently, if the agent provided the best care, which kept the risk gauge low and, as a consequence, stabilizing it, yes, of course. Best care means assistance with suppressing abnormalities. She asked Beelzy if this was friendship. Beelzy saw it as building relationships in the process of using each other. Mutual exploitation. Kat was unimpressed, asking why she wasn't obsessed with the other captains. It's because she was the highest grade. Pirin, the captain of the training team, had a soft heart. Toma, the captain of the control team, was too chivalrous. Raz, the captain of the information team, was cool-headed and rational. But Kat, the captain of the disciplinary team, was cold and strong, which was why she wanted to be friends with Kat, which Kat thought meant that she wanted to own her. Beelzy confirmed this. She wanted to put her in her pocket and carry her around. Kat saw possessions, friends, relationship, all meaningless there, saying no to this, not thinking much of her little make-believe family. Although she saw it as fine, as it was fun to her. She then walked down the corridor when she left that lounge. And then she slipped on the wet floor. Seriously, why isn't there any of those signs saying wet floor anywhere? I mean, that's what they're there for, to alert everyone there's a wet floor so they can be careful when walking down it. Well, she fell on her back and Tai was worried, and Flower told her that Tai made that pool of soapy water trying to help clean up the mess. Tai said that she should have told her not to do that in advance. Flower told her only to use watery water in the first place. Rose was worried if her skull was damaged as she rushed in. Tai didn't see it as bad, but Rose wasn't so dismissive, seeing her slip and fall on the floor. It made her heart sink thinking about it. That it might be the end, which according to Tai wasn't like her. Rose asked Kat if she was alright. Kat was alright. She wasn't dead. Rose was nervous and relieved, crying. Flower thought it was because of Tai. It was because she never got to apologise for throwing a fit after the hookah caterpillar suppression. Worried that Kat would pass away. She was relieved that she was safe. But it wasn't a big deal to Kat. Then Tai mentioned that the slip was her fault. And according to Flower, she does all the cleansies there. Kat walked away as she had a scared look in her eyes. Then Daisy, sometime later in a different location, was wielding a rifle Ichio derived from the aberration she was fighting. An aberration of Alrune, known as Pygmalion, who had breached containment. A headless woman in a pink dress accompanied by 4 fingers, each making a gold ring, levitates, the ring shooting out pink bullets, making her team unnerved. Daisy told them that the bullets attacked the mind. Those lacking white damage resistance should retreat, ordering the fingers and the rings destroyed, but not the doll. Pirin wielded her black damage inflicting scythe, Ichio, basically telling it to shove it up its I don't think it has an hole. Then one of the bullets hit her in the head, causing Daisy to be concerned about her team captain, which caused her to lose her mind, which Daisy off, as the mossy chunk of manure dared her to kid. Oh, so relatively new to that job. Then again, it's a miracle to last a full day down there. Then the Servant of Wrath appeared to back them up, her hammer sending acidic sludge to destroy the rest of the fingers and rings, fiercely destroying the aberration's capability to fight. Bibi and Biozi rushed to check on them. Daisy told them she was fine. She told them to take Pirin to the ward. Biozi thanked the Servant of Wrath. It told her that it was for the justice and balance of that land. Suho observed that Biozi communes with that magical girl as if they were one and the same, which was impressive. An ironic abnormality that has a dual nature, like the others of that set. Suho wanted Raza to search for documents on the other magical girls, and data on the calamity that struck the other branches. Raza understood and, well, got to that. Pirin was in the ward recovering from the attack on... Yes, attack with, Pygmalion attacked this one. And Toma assured the captain of the training department. Oh wait, no, not training, safety. That Razar will be there soon. Bioze noting that his mental aptitude was only just enough to make it through. If he didn't, he'd be dead. Although thankfully he got away with a trip that made his mind feel like it was melting. Thinking of Toma and Bioze stopped him from killing himself. The power of friendship! Then Razar appeared and Pirin told them that he liked the captain of the information team. Razar thought that he was such a kid saying that, and Pirin asked if Kat would come too. Razar and Toma were doubtful, but these two were proven wrong, much to Pirin's happiness as Kat did come to visit them. She delivered fruits and nutritious drinks, and then she walked out. Bioze asked her why she came, believing that after seeing what happened that day, she wanted to be friends with her. Although apparently the delivery was the idea of Rose and Tai. Apparently Tai owed Purin for when she was a trainee counselor. And then Kat decided to leave. Then Biozi was having a conversation with the Servant of Wrath, saying they're stronger than anyone. Why was she hanging out with useless ones? Biozi asking if she was still a useless person. Oh, so this relationship isn't as harmonious as we thought. Then we have a flashback. Biozi was in a different Egeo suit, and she was greeted by Daisy wearing Tangle's Egeo suit. Tomo was about to eat. Purin wanted them to buy them snacks. Bibi was annoyed by them having private conversations in the corridor, although she was open to buying some chicken. Biozi walks away, distracted, wanting to work on the Servant of Wrath, who was reading, the only one to call her by name, seeing herself as a low-level agent that tends to it. The servant aimed to treat all equally, making her realize that she wasn't treating her as a friend at all, which wasn't a word in the code of law. So, Biozi explained that a friend was one that she could be at ease with, lending to each other, one that needs her. Yes, she had low confidence in her abilities. This was clearly before she was the captain of the safety team. She sees herself as a social outcast, seeing herself as useless. The Servant of Wrath wanted to be a friend to her, which surprised her. The servant then gave her the Egeo hair accessory gifts, wanting her to be a friend that deserved it in return, to uphold balance and justice of that land together. Then we get back to the present, and the Servant of Wrath was taking a suppression too far. There was some collateral damage. That wasn't acceptable. But the servant was drooling acidic sludge, barely able to contain the rage. Biozi told her that her friend was there and urged her to calm down. The servant was losing its mind and disappeared, leaving her blindfold, saying, "Friend, my friend, those who need each other." Then Bibi checked on Biozi, who explained that the Servant of Wrath was excessive with her assistance. Bibi saw getting that close to an abnormality as a bad idea. It was unsafe, much like the Queen of Hatred during a level 2 emergency. It was more trouble than it was worth long term. So she agreed not to call for the assistance of this abnormality for a while. Bibi wanted her to turn in her Egeo gifts, as there was a strong enkephalin response to it. Yes, enkephalin, that which generates the energy that comes from the abnormalities. Which isn't a good sign. It's been gathering. It was the disaster waiting to happen, which she theorized might have happened and has caused the other instance with the other 3 magical girls. Bibi wanted Biozi to take a break from managing the Servant of Wrath that week, as they need to see if the Egeo gift has any influence on her after long-term use, to give her an emergency checkup to keep her body clean. Biozi didn't want to. She had to manage that abnormality. Bibi told her that other high-level agents can work on it, asking why she should be the only one managing it. She was silent. Bibi told Dahl that she'd be filling in for her while this was happening. Oh, so if any work other than justice was used, it increases the risk of the abnormality breaching. Dahl was a long black-haired agent who was talking to Razar, who was relaying information to her. Then Biosi walked in and was angry, asking if it was him that sniffed out the enkephalin on her Igio gifts. He was puzzled. She asked if he wanted to rob her of her usefulness, throw her worth on the ground, saying that it's nice to have a friend. But she's weaker with uneven abilities. Dahl can't be used as much as she can be. Razar didn't know what she was talking about. It was a mini-leave. This was out of hand. Or rather, out of his hands. Her paranoia increased due to this, seeing that if she becomes useless, then she's not sought out. Her existence is meaningless. She said that if she would give up on her Igio gift, throwing it on the floor, telling him to take it, and then running off. Dahl apologizing to her. Razar telling her to take a break, but then he noticed that she was no longer there, and that what she threw on the floor were fakes. Razar ordered Dahl to go after them. Realizing this deception, Biosi having a determined look in her eyes, she was working on the Servant of Wrath, telling her that she's being treated like garbage, to put her away, to be replaced with someone else. Make a single mistake and you never hear the last of it. Asking, what was she going to do? The Servant of Wrath looked tormented, seeing a friend as a being more special than anyone. Conflicted by this, as it wanted to treat all equally, with balance, wanting to uphold balance. To be fair, it said this as its head was turning orange and the outfit was yellow. Biosi realized that it didn't like being friends with her all along. It went on to say that justice and balance she should have kept. Seeing it, well, its deed is foolish. Biosi shouting at it to not abandon her. They need each other. They had to. Telling it to use her. For her justice and balance. To use her friend. Then her Igio gift reacted. At this time, the Servant of Wrath was turning red. The Igio gift's eyes opening and wrapping her in veined bandages. Feeling content that this was happening. Meanwhile, Tai and Rose were about to leave, as it was a quiet day for it. Rose noticed that all the team captains headed somewhere. Tai heard it was a suppression upstairs. Rose hoped it wasn't a big deal. Believe it. It will be. As the acidic sludge was covering the corridor in front of them. An agent running around the corner, telling them to run away. As a big acidic sludge coated hammer hit them and melted them. Then Tai and Rose met what used it. It said that balance crumbles and justice vanishes. Was this our consequence? Is it? The border between two worlds falls apart, joining my land with theirs. Our fatal encounter transcended worlds. Did it result in these forms in the end? It revealed itself to be a reptilian mini kaiju form with hammers for arms. Drooling acidic sludge. It then proceeded to attack Tai and Rose. Those they saw, those agents in the sludge. Well, Tai told them to get out of there, but it was too late. The sludge had turned them into headless dolls, minions of this abnormality. They were surrounded by them. Rose readied her claws. Tai was disturbed by these transformed agents. Rose got her out of the way of the sludge in time. Apparently they were low-level agents. The Servant of Wrath screamed that the sinners of the overworld, embodiments of evil, were still there. Then it decided to destroy the dolls in front of it. Rose saw the hypocrisy of that statement as it turned them into monsters. Tai wanted to alert Captain Cat and the department heads, but then one with a robe with large eyes on it said, "Call me. Speak my name. Then I shall speak yours in return, my companion, Servant of Wrath." They introduced themselves as the Hermit of the Azure Forest, a visitor from another world, coming to meet a friend. Rose asked if it was the wooden people, but it was the one that used them and was used by them. Oh no, please tell me it's not who I think it is. Well, it told the two agents to stand aside before they shake up their minds. Rose was ready to not sit there and take it if the Hermit was going to be hostile towards them. The Hermit plunged the staff they were wielding into the ground and made hand gestures. Rose threatened to knock it away if it was a weapon. Tai moved Rose out of the way as a crack was forming in the ceiling. And out of a hole that was made in it, Sasha plunged down with his large blood-stained sword, as if he was Dante from Devil May Cry. Knocking over the staff, he told the two agents that the department heads were on their way, along with he told them to follow their captain and evacuate that aisle. And through the hole in the ceiling, Joe and Kat dropped down. Kat basically told Tai and Rose to enjoy the show. Joe understood that normal suppression was not going to work against them. They needed to make a stage. Tai was confused, then BB charged in with what looks like an EGO made from an aberration of Queen Bee. This was in a different location, as she tore through the dolls, and the servant was not happy. Then Daisy shot it. BB complimenting that, Daisy asked how Suho was faring, where she spoke of congesting the scattering death and coughing up rest and peace. Twinkle, twinkle, twinkle. Oh, so wielding a weapon derived from the aberration of Child of Galaxy. Then she paid attention to Daisy, telling her that the area was under control as well. Kat made a hole in the wall for them to hide in, allowing her, Tai, and Rose to observe the department heads in action. Tai asked if they could do anything. Kat basically said no. Joe and Sasha attacked together, Joe using a short-handed sickle, like they made from the aberration of the Red Riding Hooded mercenary, to cut the Hermit in two, slowing the recovery. BB was leading the Servant of Wrath to their location. Joe and Sasha, once it arrived at their location, attacked it together. Although it still resisted their combined efforts, using each hammer arm to hold them in place. It was strong enough to fight this, but not enough to make any headway. Suho saw that it overthrew the balance and justice of a world for its one and only friend, obsessed over it even after coming over there, why it constantly reenacted what happened back there, dwelling on the past, filling with wrath. That play ends there. Then the Hermit greeted the servant as a dear companion, at long last. They feast each other, transcending realms. Their most precious connection brought them together again. The servant was overcome with rage. Joe and Sasha wisely decided to get out of the way of this fight. The servant charged at the hermit, and the hermit stabbed the servant with their staff, saying that its poison has the ability to cause the mind to waver, but their power is much greater in that regard, which was why it lost, defeated by its beloved companion. Cat was bored by all this talking, telling them to fight already. The hermit went on to say, used and being used by each other. That was all that was there of their relationship. Cat was unnerved by this statement. Tai and Rose noticed this. Cat realized that the wooden figures used to be low-level agents. Joe was surprised that the skinny Granny won, which wasn't supposed to happen. According to Suho, the servant will only calm down when the situation has ended in a way that satiates the delusion. So Joe was willing to give this, delusion a nudge, with Sasha ready to assist. Just as Joe was about to remove the stick from the servant, the hermit of the Azure Forest tried to stop him. But while the stick was being pulled out, the hermit was sliced in two by Sasha, and the servant of Wrath brought the hammer down on what was left. This restored justice and balance, asking if they were true friends, which turned the servant of Wrath back into a human form, and then it returned to containment. Let's see. If justice works aren't done, the one with the EGO gift turns into the Hermit of the Azure Forest, and the abnormality breaches. Any below level 3 get turned into wooden dolls. And Sasha found it regretful that all those level 1 and 2 agents were sacrificed. It ended when the Servant of Wrath was led to the Hermits, and then killed the Hermits. Daisy was thankful that Suho came up with the solution at the right time. Suho noted Bebe's expression. It suggested negative emotion. Angry at letting Byozi cause this, Daisy told her not to be too bothered by what she did, as one who was foolish would ruin everything with their own hands. Rose almost made that mistake. Thankfully, it didn't end as badly. Kat saw Byozi as an idiot that was attached silly meanings to a silly thing. Rose asked if she was alright. Kat doesn't give a about this, but Tai believes otherwise. The meaning someone puts on a thing just tells what kind of person they were. It's not stupid by itself. In response, Kat then bonked Tai on the head. Tai wanted to know why she did that. Rose replied that some people resort to that when they're caught being dishonest. Ah, speaking from personal experience, aren't you, Rose? Well, that was quite lengthy for one abnormality, isn't it? Let's hope the next one is a bit shorter. Until next time. Hail the rabbit!